So I'm on my rooftop right now, one, because it's just nicer to film out here, and two, because one of the first things that I heard when I said I'm moving to El Grau was, oh, aren't you scared of all the gitanos? Which means, aren't you scared of all the gypsies? And I thought, well, no, I'm not really scared of any particular race or culture. But I've just been hearing it more and more, right? Like people are saying, like, "Oh, don't go to that neighborhood because it's dangerous. You have to watch out for the gitanos." Or if you watched my last video when I ask about La Mina, he says, "Oh, drugs, killing, and gitanos and gypsies." And it just got me thinking a little bit more about this divide here in Spain between Gitano culture, which influenced flamenco and things like that. And to me, it just seems like such a wonderful culture. But a lot of the Payos, which are people who aren't gypsies, I often hear them talk about Gitanos in such a negative light. And well, I'm a giddy, I'm a white ass foreigner, so I don't feel like I have too much of a right to get into an argument here. But I've done some research, and it just looks like the racism that we have in Canada towards Indigenous people. By that I mean it's just there's a higher percentage of people in jail that are Gitanos. There are a higher percentage of people not getting employed. So it just seems like there's too many facts to show that there is obviously some systemic racism going on here, but I want to learn more about it. So that's what I'm going to go do. I'm going to go talk to some friends and people on the street and try to learn more about this Gitano Payo divide here in Spain. Avi, you've lived here for 14 years, right? So what is your opinion about Gitanos?
They are pretty much different because of like their own customs and that and their own traditions. So for a kid around and surrounded by many different cultures, as it was in Castellon, in my class, we had Gypsy people, we had Colombian people, Ecuadorian people, Hungarian people, and of course, Spanish people.
Mm-hmm. And do you think that there was like racism towards Gitanos, or Gitanos being racist towards Payos? Or towards South American people? Did you experience racism from Payos, or did you experience racism from Gitanos?
Actually, in that sense, it would be the fucking Payos. I mean, because
Okay.
If we take a standpoint, who is a Payo? Yeah, a Payo is like a non-gypsy, let's say, can be Spanish person. And in that case, they tend to be, let's say, more defensive about their place. It's like, oh, this immigrant came here and he's smart and he's getting better marks than us and stuff like that. Okay. And with gypsy people, and not so much in primary school, but when it comes to high school, because normally, at least in my experience, the gypsy people that I have known through my school years, lots of them dropped out before, which he would be high school, the last 2 years before university. And what I would think in that case is that these gypsy people actually didn't mind it that much. I mean, they can be, let's say, how can I call it? There's this prejudice against them as being thugs or being really, let's say, rude and mean in like inside the school against the teachers, against other students. But at least in my experience, I had no kind of trouble with gypsy people.
All right, we just entered La Bicicleta, the bicycle. It's the bar, and it's perfect for me because I bike everywhere, and I can just stash my bike right here at the staircase, grab my beer. Two of my favorite things. Okay, vale. Ahora estoy con, ¿qué es su nombre? Dan. Dan. Y Dan es de Rumanía.
Sí, llevo aquí bastante tiempo, o sea, tipo,
¿Cuánto tiempo
llevo en España 17 años, pero Rumanía también hay mucha historia con gitanos, mucha más que aquí incluso. Vale, ¿y qué opinas sobre gitanos? Que es gente que no se integra mucho. O sea, esa es la base y es por eso porque creo bastante que sobre todo en Europa, tío, claro que me estás enfocando mal, así, que sobre todo en Europa ese racismo que se nota es básicamente porque ellos se apartan. O sea, ellos se apartan.
Yo pienso que no hay exactamente un racismo tal cual, sino que hay diferencias culturales. Como tanto, yo pienso que su cultura es bastante más cerrada con temas de familia, de tradiciones y tal. Esas tradiciones que tienen tan arraigadas como que les impiden un poco relacionarse de una forma más abierta con nosotros los payos, diríamos, ¿no? Pero bueno, también existen muchos casos, como el mío, por ejemplo, que yo me he crecido en barrios que estaban en contacto con barrios gitanos y no hay tampoco no he sentido yo un gran racismo en ese sentido. También, si uno se sabe llevar bien con ellos y tal, que son, en plan, gente muy acogedora, con una cultura muy rica, pero claro, también hay que saber entenderlo, ¿no? Un poco de las tradiciones que les hacen estar un poco más encerrados en sí mismos.
Yo no sé cómo será afuera, pero aquí hay mucho conflicto, tipo, porque nos ven por ahí por sus barrios y pues a lo mejor nos quieren echar o dicen el payo este mierda que hace aquí o temas así y es horrible, la verdad, me parece...
¿Y, y eres un payo? En opinión
A mí
de...
eso me parece racista porque es como, yo no te llamo gitano ni así, simplemente te llamo por tu nombre, ¿no? En plan, pero con muchas culturas. Es lo que...
Okay, so obviously the problem with my video so far is that I haven't interviewed any gitanos. One of the reasons for that is because all the people I know here don't associate with any gitanos, but I asked, where can I go to learn more about the culture? And some people told me to go to San Lorenzo in Almazora. Other people said, don't go there unless you want to get stabbed or you want to lose your GoPro. I went there during the day, didn't find anyone who wanted to speak with me. But 2 weeks ago, I emailed the Asociación Gitana, or the Gypsy Association. They didn't respond, so I sent them 2 messages. I phoned them, didn't get any response. Went there last night, talked to this guy who was really friendly, but he said, oh no, come back tomorrow morning. I don't really want to be in the video, but the people who work here, the ladies that work here, I'm sure they'll want to tell you more about our culture. So I came back. And that's where I'm walking back from right now, because the first lady, she said, oh yeah, we're kind of busy, we'll message you in a month or 2. I said, I only need a 5 or 10 minute interview. She said, yeah, well, we'll message you. I said, okay, but she was really friendly. And then I went downstairs and I saw this guy there and started talking to him and asked, can I interview you? And he started telling me about how a little bit about Gitano culture, and then how his wife is Payo, right? So the other Spanish people. And he was saying like, yeah, we do experience a lot of racism. And then I said, oh, I heard that one of the reasons is because Gitano people don't want to mix with other cultures and don't want to associate with other cultures, which from my last 2 weeks trying to find Gitano people is true. As you saw from the start of my video, it's not how I wanted to conclude this. But he said, no, it's not true. Of course, there are racists in every culture, but no, we like other cultures and we do want to mix. And the conversation was getting really interesting. And then a lady came down who worked there. She said, get out. This is a private building. I said, okay, but I just want to know more about the culture. And she said, oh, is this private? Maybe some people don't want to be in the video. I said, I'll make sure just to film this guy. He already said yes. And she said, no, go outside. And then by that point, the mood was kind of broken. So he went to his wife and the video ended. And yeah, kind of a negative note, but I'm still going to stay true to the fact that maybe Gitanos don't want to mix because of systemic racism that has existed. And of course, as proof with that guy who's married to a Payo, of course they do mix, right? But I really wanted to do something to show off Gitano culture because I do think it's interesting. But since none of them want to be in my video, I'm gonna make my own Gitano stew. And we'll finish the video that way. All right, so it's cooking time now, which also means it's beer time. Mixing two cultures here because I got the Delirium, which is a Belgian beer, and oh, sorry, once it's in my hand, I can't help but take a sip. So today we're going to make receta de olla gitano, o gitana murciana, el tradicional guiso huertano de legumbres con pera y hierba buena. A gypsy stew from Murcia, which is a city here in Spain, and a traditional stew with vegetables and a pear and herba buena. Herba buena means good herb. The first time I heard that, I associated it with weed right away, but herba buena, good herb, is not weed. It is spearmint. So I was reading a little bit about Gitano kitchen, especially here in Spain. And apparently they really like colorful food, and you can see that right here. We got the tomatoes, we got calabacin, which is pumpkin or squash, zanahorias, the carrots, the flat peas, and then we got pears as well, and saffron, just like in Spanish cooking. Saffron is apparently quite popular in Gitano cooking as well. This recipe does not call for ajo. It says you can add ajo's garlic, sorry, and apparently you can add it if you want. I just have a shit ton, so I'm gonna add all of it. Then we got some paprika, salt, the spearmint, as I said, and then here got the white beans, the onion, and then the bread. The bread, I'm actually not sure what I'm supposed to do with it. Here, what does it say here? Pan de hogaza rebanada. Now, I didn't know what that meant, so I looked it up on the translator and it said sliced bread. I asked a Spanish person, also said sliced bread. I looked up a picture, also said sliced bread. But it says I have to fry it with the onion, so I don't know if I'm misreading the instructions, but it seems a little bit strange to me. But anyways, water's almost boiling, so I'm gonna add that already. I don't really know what I'm doing right now, but apparently I'm supposed to fry the almonds, and those almonds were supposed to be peeled. I couldn't find any peeled almonds. I'm too lazy to peel them myself, and the nutrients are in the peel, right? So that's my excuse for not peeling them. And I'm gonna throw it in with the olive oil and the bread. It says to add the garlic later if I want to, but I'm just gonna add it right away because I like fried garlic. As you can see, I'm one of those people that is not good with instructions. Been that way since a child. Someone would tell me, oh Nolan, this is the way you have to do it. This is step 1, this is step 2. And I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go do the opposite of that then. Sometimes that has led to some good creative results, and other times that has led to other results. So we'll see what the result is for today. Here we are with the final product. It's definitely looking more like a mix of the colors, a little bit more beige than it's supposed to be. If we look at the actual result, it's supposed to be a little bit more like this at the end. I cut up the onions just because I forgot to buy these little ones, and I kind of replaced that with the, look-wise, I replaced it with the garlic. Obviously, it gives it a way different taste. But let's try this. Wholesome vegetarian meal, which kind of makes me think of the theme of the last 2 videos, right? At the beginning, Ruben and I, who's on a vacation right now, he's doing a 2-month trip in Asia. That's why he's not filming, and I'm using the GoPro today. But we were talking about how hard it is to find vegetarian food in Spain, and that most dishes involve meat. And when I was reading about Gitano cooking, it's the same thing. They do use a lot of meat, but this one is vegetarian. So all you Payos out there that want to go vegetarian but still want some Spanish flavor, maybe try some Gitano Murcian stew. And also, if you're as confused as I was initially when it comes to talking about Gitanos or Roman people, of course, there are differences depending on where they live, right? This is an ethnic group that has moved around a lot and has mixed with different cultures. Originally, they came from India. And even though this is definitely not in the Gitano Murcian stew, I'm just gonna make mine a little bit more Indian because I love spicy food. I'm just gonna add a shit ton of cayenne. And anyways, this is the end of the video. If you do want to know some more about the specifics of Gitano culture, the history, their clothing, the music, all of that, I'm going to post some links in the description. And of course, please support this channel by going to withoutborders.fyi. You can become a paid subscriber, and well, that's the only way I can keep this going. So if you enjoyed this video, please check it out. Tune in next time.